Hi, Amanda here with Crafting with Amanda, and welcome to part 2 of our Love Blossoms card kit. This makes 12 cards, and if you missed the first one, up in the upper right corner you'll see the arrow is showing you where you can click the link and be taken to see the first one where we cut out the pieces for all of 12 cards, and then I assemble card number 1 for all 4 iterations. And now I'm going to show you on card number 2 with the 4 components that we're doing for that. I'm pulling scraps and leftover pieces parts from the Candid Moments scrapbooking kit, and then also just embellishments that I have around the studio that are left over from different projects. So these are flowers that are also left over from some scrapbook layouts. In fact, that little flower that I did with the blue leaf is from my July club card that I sent out, like I said, last year in July to all of my gals. So I'm just kind of dry fitting and adding different components to the different cards and playing around and figuring out what sentiment I want to add. I'm going to cut the banner end on all of these just like is in the pattern. If you want the pattern, check out the description. I will give you a way to either email me or hopefully get a Google Doc or a Google form link so that you can ask for that information. As we proceed, I'm not sure how much as far as a narration of now I'm doing this and here you're going to see me here doing, XYZ, but I will try to give you some highlights of ideas and thoughts of how I process this. I pulled obviously a embossing folder and embossed the background for the card in the bottom right corner. I just thought it was going to be something different, something maybe we don't always think about, so kind of ideas for how to use up the little pieces parts and bits and the one-off things that you have left from scrapbook workshops or card workshops or projects that just are laying around, or in my case are in buckets and envelopes and everywhere. I do really like this scallop lacy kind of border that came with the scrapbooking kit from Candid Moments, and I love that I'm utilizing the little pieces that are left, and I know that I can make a couple more layouts from the Candid Moments papers because I did have that many left. At the same time, I really like how these components from 3 different projects are all coming together. That's one of the flowers again from my July club card, and it's working with the layered flowers from a project that I did for Makers with Heart, and here's the acrylic shapes that I had purchased for the Isabella papers. So just all of these little things are coming together into one project and can get mailed out across the country and hopefully bring smiles and joys to people. The striped base was a little, bold, and I wasn't sure how to soften that. I think adding the lace helps with that, but then at some point I was kind of bothered a little bit by being able to see through the pieces, so I kind of stepped away from that card and turned my attention back to the other card that I finished first. Sometimes when I get overwhelmed or am, unsure of what the next step is going to be, but I know the next step for the other card or another project, it's kind of freeing to me to be able to finish that one, get it out of my head, and move on. I don't know if any of you feel that way, but sometimes it works and allows me to move on to the next project. Again, I'm going to ink the edges of the banner, and I just clipped it as I'm creating each card. I found some cups, stacked teacups that were in, I think it was a stamp of the month from several years ago, and I pulled those out, and they just went so well with the colors that were in this paper pack. And these are cups that I think I colored for a project, again, like I said, several years ago, and I was just having fun and probably needed a mindless activity one evening and had stamped and colored and didn't end up using all of them, and look at how well they work with this papers. I love that about Close to My Heart, and that the colors stay around and work together just for years to come. So these leaves that I'm pulling are from the layered flowers again, and I just pinched the top where the stitches are in them to give it a little bit of dimension on the card. I'm going to add some sequins from the old multi-color sequence pack They were on sale at one point. They might be in the clearance item on my website. And this bird came directly from the die cuts of the scrapbook workshop, and also this branch. And I decided that I wanted to just ink it up. I could have used markers to color the branch itself brown and the leaves green, but I thought it would be more fun to just kind of use my brush, or you can use a sponge or a blending tool if that's what you have around, or again, get out your shimmer markers or shimmer brushes or your markers, and you can get the same effect. So I just had some fun with that. And here, if you haven't seen me shape some of my die cuts, I'm just shaping the wing from this bird so that it pops up a little bit, and I'm putting a piece of foam tape under it so that it will stay out from the bird and not get compressed when it goes through the mail. I intentionally did one that I didn't put through the embossing folder, just so you can see kind of the unembossed background versus the embossed background. Makes it a little different and just shows, is it worth the effort for this particular look that I'm going for, to get out your embossing tool and find the right folder. Because I don't know about you, I don't want to say that I'm a lazy crafter, because I'm not, or I don't believe I am, but there's just some times that I'm a tired crafter, and it's just too much effort to pull out that tool to get this look. And I think this card looks beautiful. The bird really stands out, and in real life it has some dimension to it. It's just a nice thinking of you card, again with lots of color. So for my friends back in Michigan and those that are inundated with snow already, this will have some color to arrive in their mailbox and bring them joy. I play around with where I want the sequins or any bling to go, just for what's pleasing to my eye, and once I figure out where I like it, I kind of slide them off to the side and then push the bling right back over them. And these again are more sequins from that multicolored sequins pack. Here is the last card for the second pattern from our Love Blossoms card kit. I chose not to do the medallions on the other side. I chose to go ahead and stay with the stripes on this side of the paper. Although at first I wasn't feeling it for the full front of the card, by the time I got to this point, I was digging it, and it didn't bother me that you could see the stripes behind the little lacy border. These are flowers again from the layered flower thin cut that is available from our core catalog, from a project that I did a couple months ago. Just pulling out different flowers and seeing what will work. This is an old stamp set from a long time past, so just look into your stash, see what you got, see what works for you for creating just some fun cards and using up some pieces parts, which is always a boon in my world. I'm trying to remember where I cut these all out for, or what I cut them all out for, and I can't remember. I want to say it was October. So I pulled 3 of the flowers from my July club card. They worked. They were the right size. The other flowers just seemed too big. They were a good color, and with the blue leaves, it just worked perfectly with the blue stripes that were in the background. So here I'm gonna grab a few of the sequins again and tack those down. The difference in glues, just in case you are unaware, the green lidded Tombow glue dries clear but with still a little tack to it. So it's perfect for, I would say, plastic embellishments and getting those to adhere. So now we're going to go ahead and do the third pattern in our workshop. And you can tell that it has the same bases as card 2, with 2 of them being the, I think it's papaya, and then 2 being the striped papers. I have more of my teacups that I found, and then you can kind of see in the lower left corner that I had these flowers that I had cut for a scrapbook layout from, I want to say 3 or 4 years ago, because I think we were still at the farm, and we left the farm in 2019, and I didn't do much scrapbooking prior to leaving because we were getting ready to go. So I'm going to say that I made these daisies, these big daisies and the blue ones, for a project from 2018 at the earliest. So it's nice to have these components that are going to be used and sent on their way, and like I said, hopefully bring a smile to somebody. If it bothers you that I cut a stamp apart so that the sentiment would fit, I'm sorry that I didn't give you fair warning to shut your eyes before you witness that. But this particular sentiment is from the Say It With Style or Say It All Occasion stamp set, again from many years ago, and it'll hold up and still work for many more years to come, even though it's in 2 pieces. I love to dry fit and kind of look at the sticker sheet from that Candid Moments and see what's going to work for me. I want to use those books on that card, but because it's a sticker, I'm going to go ahead and put it back on the sheet. So here I stamped the Your Friendship is a Blessing. I found the You're My Cup of Tea. There was a couple of those that were in the same envelope of leftover pieces as the teacups were. So I just thought that worked beautifully for this. And I went back and forth. I remember thinking if I was going to put the blue card base there, or the blue mat in front of the stripe paper, or if I was going to put it behind the stripe paper. And obviously, as you can see here, I decided to put it behind the stripes. And then I'm just using some of the circle elements and those daisy mum type flowers to create that card. So we'll move on to the second card, and this little ticket that you see on the right corner of the card, it's also from the Scrapbook Workshop. I encourage you to kind of think outside the box, or to at least look at all the different components and see if there's projects that, if it's the right color, you can probably figure out a way to use it. For me, I'm learning color. Color is kind of the unifying factor on scrapbook pages. If I match the colors to what's in the photos, or coordinate the colors from the photos with the scrapbook pages, then they just look good. It's the same thing with cards. A card can be a scrapbook page just in a smaller format, and it can go as quickly. You could take this layout of a card, and instead of where you have your sentiment or where you have your coffee cups or whatever, you could actually have a photo, and just imagine this bigger for what do they call the daily journaling books? I can't think of the name of it right now. I'm sorry. But this could be one of your, like the December dailies. That's what I'm trying to think of. But there are people that journal and do their memory keeping on a daily basis or a weekly basis. And this size would lend itself to that format. So here's those stack of books from the sticker sheet. And then there was also banners on the sticker sheet, or these pennants. So I'm grabbing those, and you'll see that I don't press them down all the way, because I knew that they, very rarely am I going to get them on there the first time in the correct order. So I'm put them down lightly so that I could pull them up again if need be. And I'm going to rearrange them here. I'm going to move on to the last card, and it's going to come together again also very quickly, because I already had these components that were just sitting in my studio needing to be used. Here's a Just For You card, again using that medallion circle from the Scrapbook Workshop Candid Moments, my flower from my July club card, the teacups from, 4 or 5 years ago. So pull out your stash, enjoy it. Look at how vivid these cards are going to be, and I'm going to have a lot of fun sending them out. Oh, I do have to say, I love this jewel picker. It is probably my favorite jewel picker that I've used. I've only tried, I think, 3 different ones, so this would be number 4, but this far and away is my favorite jewel picker in that it works so well. Gonna add some more sequins to these cards to kind of finish them out. And like I said, I'm such a visual person that I put them all on, and then I try to pause a moment and look at the full scope of the card and just have an idea of, does this work, or can it be moved here? And sometimes, especially in watching the videos back, I'm like, oh, you should have left it how you had it the second time around, or oh, I'm glad you moved that because it looks much better now. And we're all allowed to have those opinions on different days. So here's the last 4 cards of the set. I will leave a link in the description if you missed the cutting guides and you want to see that. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, I would love for you to join that. I look forward to reading your comments, and I hope you have a blessed day. Thank you.